Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Tank.
Tanku.
You're welcome.
Yeah, as
Yeah, I
soon as I
know.
said it.
I know it was a good one. I know it got you.
Thanks for that.
Yay!
Smash glass time.
Here at the glass table, we're just like you.
I like to play football, I like to watch football, and I like to talk about football.
Yay! I like to play football, and I like to watch football, and I like to talk about football.
But we do things a little bit differently around here.
That could be a dream, Jared.
Stupid dick. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Glass Table, episode 83, which is got no resemblance of a number at all. I think it was a margin that Sydney lost a grand final by a couple of years back, maybe. It was a bit more. I think could be the combined total score of Port Adelaide's last 2 weeks. Yeah. Full on anyway. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. As you said, it's us being here is very exciting. The weekend of football that we've had, we collectively played was exciting. That we collectively watched was not. And I say exciting in terms of our results that we won, but I just want to let's just address it straight away for the people that are watching. What's going on with your face? What has happened on the side of your face? Have you gotten into a fight? And can we see the other guy?
No, you can't.
Because
it wasn't the guy. And before anyone comes and goes, oh, you bashed your girl. No. It didn't happen. I would never do such a thing. The grass, on the other hand,
had it coming.
Let me tell you, when this 91 kilo frame decided to take a diving mark and had a defender high on his tail, and I've clunked it, by the way, if you're wondering at home, absolutely clunked it.
Of course.
And also the 6'4" defender, that's probably the same weight or a bit more, has fallen on top of me. And as I've dove into the ground to grab the mark, I've taken it. It's solid in there. Unfortunately, the momentum has flown my face and everything else on top of it right into the dirt, which means, this beautiful thing and a little bit of a black eye there as well is in there. Yeah, that's appeared up. So showing up to work on Monday was a few journos looking at me going, that doesn't look right.
We're going to write a report about you soon.
Yeah, well, is there a tribunal hearing? Not really. I think the grass can plead guilty, but then again, probably gets off with, minimal impact.
Low impact. High contact, low impact. Careless.
Yeah, it was definitely careless, but I technically ran into the it. So
yeah, kind of bit of a duty of care of both of you. Yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's the whole purpose of this $1 million face looking like it belongs on the Right Plus catalogue.
Oh God!
But it's okay. We won by 80 and I kicked 5.
So it's all worth it almost in the end.
These battle scars. For those that have ever seen The Land Before Time, do you remember one of the episodes where the lone dinosaur is there, like has a little cut on his eye? And that's a great comparison. I look like the lone dinosaur from The Land Before Time.
This is fantastic for the audio listeners that are like, I can't see his face right now. There you go. That's what you can picture in your head.
Yeah, if you're a Land Before Time, I look like the lone dinosaur.
Yeah, there you go.
If you're not a fan of The Land Before Time, picture how someone would fall over, scrape their knee on like grass and it'd be like a burn, but it's on my face.
That's basically what it is. It's like a grass burn that, you cop, except it's right over the eye, which looks just very painful. And nah.
It's right, $100 in the pocket, and 7th in the Coleman. But hey, who's counting, right?
No.
Just a very, very, very grateful defender who's turned forward. He's just lucky enough to play a beautiful sport that we all love and cherish. And fortunately enough, I'm just half decent at it. But unfortunately, I won't be in the mid-season draft, but you'll catch me live 2:15 every Saturday. Best boss.
Yes.
And you'll catch Jared every so often. You're like a special guest on like a sitcom.
Yeah.
He shows up every so often.
I'm like Janice. Like I show up like twice a season, maybe. I show up twice a season. Nobody really knows why I'm there. I do a couple little quips, and by that I mean a couple decent kicks out of the back line. And then I fuck off back to
my God.
And then I fuck off back to not on the show. Yeah, basically. Yeah, you'll catch me every so often on a Friday night playing thirds football. Made my season debut this week. Walking into a team that was already winning, so that helps. We won by like 70 something as well. It was very cold on the Friday night. Very, very cold. But we played all right. Had a win, which was very good. And yeah, speaking of tribunal, one of my mates in the team has to go to tribunal because he got dangerous tackled, and then the umpires reported him. I was like, "You're reporting people in thirds football?" I was like, "Jesus."
Oh, don't worry. And I've done that before. Like going to a local footy tribunal is not. We don't have Zeta there. He's not tweeting about you.
It's not pretty.
There's no snits. It is a small dining room with half a bottle of water and 4 old blokes sitting there thinking they know the top to bottom of the A's, B's, and C's of those rule books.
Yep.
And then you watch the footage back on its 2007 video camera. And you watch it in slow-mo, which is 0.5, and it's just
jittery. Yeah.
And there's no case to answer, but they'll make one for you, and you're there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, they'll figure it out, which is very funny. I just thought it was very funny that he's got a tribunal for thirds football, and he's not even the one that's like getting reported. He just has to be there to be like, yeah, I don't know, I got tackled. I'm all right. That's all he's got to do.
I'm glad he's all right. But
yeah, like he's fine. And it was a one. They didn't pay the free kick at the time, and then after the game, they're like, "Oh, we reported him," and we were like, "But you didn't pay the free kick." What the fuck's that about?
They do that in everything.
It's so fucking stupid. Anyway,
it's good to know the core of our game, which are the umpires, the whistleblowers, from the top to the bottom, no matter where you are. AFL, local footy, AFL nines, they're all bad at their jobs.
Thank you, umpires, for bringing us all together.
Thank you, umpires. You're not part of this segment, but I shall go into it anyway. Shall we get stupid sexy?
Let's do it. Yeah. Stupid sexy AFL player.
All right. Round 11 occurred. Jared Thomas. We're going to do another stupid edition of Stupid Sexy.
Yes.
Which is where it's more turned into players that have had good performances, or
it's because we ran out of players that were just.
No, I don't think we ran out of players. I think we just broadened our horizons.
Yeah, that too. I think it was a bit of both.
It's everyone's personal favorite segment. We've heard firsthand from people as well. It's very funny, but hey, you've got to have 2 stupid, sexy people to present it. So they're not here tonight, but we're going to do it anyway. What was yours this week?
Unfortunately, the Hemsworth brothers were unavailable. So here we are. Mine this week.
Which one? There's like 7 of them.
The 2 main ones. The two ones that everyone actually
Bring me Thanos.
Unfortunately, they weren't available, so here we are. But my one this week comes from a little bit south of here, from the place known as the Cattery, Cardinia Park, Simmons Stadium, whatever else you want to call them. Any of those associated. GMHBA, Construction Park, Alphabet Stadium, any of them, anything you want. It comes from there. And it comes from a player there that we have raved about this man for as long as this podcast has been going. And I thought, we're entering that time. And a couple of weeks ago, we made the mention of this is about when footy starts getting a bit shit. The buys start this week, and a certain team, okay, Geelong, have about a 9-week period where they play most of the games at Kardinia Park and they win by about 12 goals each time. And one player just feasts out. And you're like, man, I feel like he's been pretty bad this year. And then in round 24, you look at the Coleman letter and he's second. And you're like, how'd that happen? Games like this.
He's first at the moment.
Games like this. Jeremy fucking Cameron, who can have a terrible game of football and just turn it on in the flick of a switch. And I still, to this day, I know he's getting older, but I still am like, man, if I had to draft anybody straight up, he was close. He's got to be close to first on my team. Just like one, because he's very good. Two, he seems like a great person. He seems like a lot of fun, and he just enjoys his footy, and he's very, very, very good.
Just a good bloke.
Yeah.
Like,
I just think
he would be.
I just think of the cow every time.
Yeah. Like, he would be probably in the top 5 list of players to have a beer with.
Absolutely. I was literally about to say, he is right up there with...
I think we've done that list.
Yeah, and he's there. He is absolutely 1 or 2, most guaranteed.
I think that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, which player would you most want to have a beer with?
Yeah, we've asked it before, but I think rerunning it.
We can re-go. We can redo it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Might revisit that later, but I like that. That's, Jez is hitting his... It's May, June, and June's renamed Jezza.
He's very good. And like you look at him and you're like, oh, he's done pretty well this game. And then and you already think he's doing well, and then he kicks like 2 in a minute, and you're like, oh no, he's having one of those.
It gets better for them because like they play the Eagles in at Optus, they play the Suns at GMHBA, and then they play the Dons at the MCG, and he always kicks goals in that game.
And every game at the MCG, he just kicks snags at the MCG.
And then they play the Brisbane Lions at GMHBA, which always is a good game, and then they enter the bye. So he's guaranteed 40 goals in the next 5 weeks.
The guy's going to kick snags. I love it.
Yep.
What about your one? What about your stupid sexy this week?
Yeah, mine's a bit younger. Got a bit younger, but
yep.
We obviously keep talking about how Essendon are shit, but somehow they keep just ticking off those boxes. There's a few auditions from the Dons this week, but one in particular, he really has just grown into a good footballer. He kind of has the looks too. Sam Durham. Pretty good at footy.
Very good at footy.
Tough nut. Good mark, can kick a snag. Just looks like if he wasn't playing AFL, he would be dominating Div 2, A grade, probably in the top 4 side, wins a medal, but always will win a BNF. So good on the sauce.
He has got local football BNF written all over
it. And he's just like prime time.
Yeah, 100%. Probably was on a VFL list like a couple times, maybe played a game or 2. But then when he went back to the seniors at his local club, he just tore it up.
And really, really popular at school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the most popular man there. Absolutely. Sam Durham. And yeah, like you said, he's a good-looking dude as well, Sam Durham. And he's playing great football. And I went high on him this year. I put him in my fantasy team straight off the bat.
It's in mine.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be very good. And he's been all right in terms of rest, but he had a good game. And I think also Dreamtime, it being Dreamtime, reminded me of the fact that he won them the game that year. I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. The game in the goal in the last minute.
Yeah. So he's just built for that kind of moment. He's a very good footballer.
Punned up for the first time in AFL fantasy. I think that's the most important thing of it all. Like he got the triple, he raised the bat at the G. Like that's very, very difficult to do, and he did it.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone, in cricket has raised the bat at the G in May. So
so he's done very well.
I know Nick Martin probably tried to do it twice on the weekend, but hey, it is what it is.
It's okay. Nick Martin did good too. Good on Nick Martin. Shout out Nick Martin.
Special mention. Hey, round 11. What do you think?
It's all right.
Started off really well. I'll run you through it.
Yeah.
I love how you just go, all right.
It's okay.
I thought Thursday night was the match of the round. Cats, Dogs, our favourite movie franchise of all time at GMHBA. Someone said something about the Cats being the better canine or something like that. I don't know. Someone in commentary said something weird.
Yeah.
It was,
the better house pet. I think I saw that.
yeah, that's the one. The head of house
or
pet.
whatever it was. Yeah. I think I heard that too.
Don't really know how to think about that. But anyway, Friday night, dream time at the G, special time. It was great atmosphere. The game was fantastic for 3 quarters. When I say fantastic, it was close. I think I get sucked into the fact that a close game is never really always a good game. But we've seen the last 3 weeks, Richmond just put out solid performances. So fair play to them. But the Dons got the job there. The Giants bet Carlton in the Cooper Hamilton. I love that video. But the Blues, just like the Saints in Port, are done.
Yep.
The Hawks lost to the Lions. Now, the Hawks.
I think there's words to be had here about the Hawks. I think the words that you're about to say were put in a tweet by me at one point as well.
See, now I wouldn't use the P word, and I'm not saying premiership contender.
No.
I'm not saying pretender.
Oh.
I am saying the F word. Fraud.
Yes.
Hawthorn Frauks.
Yes.
That's shit. Anyway.
Fraudthorn.
Fraudthorn. Oh, that's better. Yeah, but I don't mind that. Now, I'm very, very scared because I was hopeful of the Hawks. You know, I really like the fact that they came out of nowhere last year with the swan song, and then this year they can sort of become that contender and that, you know, that staple. I think even in their wins, they've been teetering. They haven't looked great.
They haven't had any like real. I not from memory have like convincing great wins that I can think of.
I think the Essendon one early on was pretty good. We'll go through their fixture, right? And I think this is where it's the telling point because they've had too many times for me now. They've faltered. Like they obviously bet the Swans in opening round. It was good. They bet the Dons and Carlton in typical Hawthorn fashion. Their win against the Giants in Tassie was arguably their best considering the comeback.
Yep.
They lost to Port. The Cats game
kind of got them. The Ports loss kind of got them, I think.
I think that's definitely faltered. They definitely got found out a bit. And they bet the Eagles by 50 and Richmond by 65. Both of those games, they were even then they were not as fantastic. Obviously, bet the D's by 35. They lost to the Suns. That was a good game. Like I thought then it was all right, just good footy. One on the weekend is very concerning for me because their next month, it makes or breaks Hawthorn's year. They've got the Pies this Friday night at the G. They've got the Dogs at Marvel the next Thursday night. And then Friday night, a week after that, they've got the Crows in Tassie. By the way, that's a Friday night.
Tassie Friday night games. They're getting upgraded, the old Tasmanians.
Yeah, they won't do their fucking stadium, will they? I reckon if Tassie... All right, this is my big call. Yeah. I know we're talking about Hawthorn, but if Tassie declined their stadium, right, I heard Matthew Richardson say that this would be the biggest decision, you know, the worst decision they'd ever make in 20, 30 years down the track. Yeah. They'll look back on. I agree. But if Tasmania declined the stadium and decline any sort of competitive club in the AFL and anything to do with it, right? No stadium, no club, as they said. If that's declined, I think the likes of Hawthorn and even North scrap their deals. Let's cut Tasmania off completely.
Yeah, be like, you know what? This is your fault.
Yeah, and even the country, right? Yeah. Let's just call it like New Zealand's baby. Push it away.
This is your fault. This is happening, Tasmania.
And do not come at me, Tasmanians, because one, I don't care. But two, more importantly, in all seriousness, I want you to have a football club. I want you to have a football culture. You deserve it so much. If you don't get it,
It's your fault.
Get rid of it or anything to do with Tasmania.
Yeah. I agree. No, I agree. I think if they stuff it up, if they falter, if they just need to do it. That's all they need to do, and then they'll be
Just
there.
tick it off. You can figure it out later.
Done. The team stuff's been done. All the staff that you need to are getting hired, and yet they just can't figure out a stadium.
They have had the biggest promotion, bigger than Gold Coast, bigger than GWS. They've got everything they need for a football club that can be successful right off the bat, except for the backing of a stadium.
Silly Tasmania.
Anyway, back to Hawthorn. Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know, but then again, like they've had a lot of injuries, had a lot of ins and outs. I think the stat I saw just before was Will Day with him in.
Oh,
they
yeah,
win a shit ton of games.
They are a different team.
So yeah, skeptical. I think they're sort of that one. They're sitting sixth. They got a couple of games inside the 8. The next month is telling for Hawthorn.
Yeah, I still think they're going to be a finals team. I think they're going to maybe just sneak in now. I don't know if they're in that sort of upper echelon that we were putting them in sort of early days. But I still think they're good enough. Like, they've got the talent everywhere on that team. Like, it's not like they're really missing a spot. Like, they've got good key defenders. I suppose their key forwards aren't amazing. Like, well, they're good on their day, but like, Chol isn't going to have an amazing game every time. Gunston is obviously getting older. He's not going to be amazing every time. Like, they have people there. They have the talent that can do it. It's just about making sure it works. And, it's one of those ones where they've done it before as well, though, Hawthorn. They've had rough patches. Like you said, last year, they had a rough patch to start the year and then turned it on home. So they have every opportunity to, get to now and then go, all right, let's figure this out. And then just sort of speed their way through the rest of the year. So I'm not selling. Like, I'm not being like, I don't believe in them anymore, but they are, like you said, the next 3 weeks is very, very, very telling.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, they, as you said, like with their forwards, they rely heavily on their smalls like Moore, Ginnivan, McDonald, Watson, Child didn't kick a goal on the weekend. I don't think Gunston played at all. So it's, a bit concerning, I think. But then again, we talk down a team and next thing you know, they bounce back and probably win the next 6. Who really knows?
Melbourne. Melbourne is a classic example. We were ready to write them off, and we did last year. I mean, we said this year they'd be a little bit better, but then they had a few bad losses, and like that Gold Coast one at the G, and we went, "Yep, Melbourne are real bad. That's it. They're down there." Blah blah blah. And now they're a game out of the 8, and one of the hottest teams in the AFL.
Which is a perfect segue into saying the Dees are back.
The Dees are back. They are absolutely back
with a forward line like they have, which now just looks so dynamically different, considering they've had so many injuries through there. Not a key forward. We all thought that Van Rooyen was going to be the star of it all, but now they've got so much going for them. They know how to utilize their assets. Cozzy Pickett's become like he's done it twice this year. 5 goal, 20+ disposal game. He kicked 5 goals, 4 on the weekend.
He had it on a fucking string, Cozzy Pickett. And
goodness me.
It's bizarre. I think I said this on the weekend. At the start of the year, if you'd have said the whole Luke Jackson to Melbourne and Cozzy Pickett to Freo thing, start of the year, I would have been like, you know what? Probably a straight swap. Probably just a Luke Jackson, you can go to Melbourne. Cozzy, you can go to Freo. And it's probably a straight swap, maybe like a later one towards Freo. Luke Jackson was maybe a little bit more. Now, Freo are going to have to pay much more than Melbourne are going to have to. Melbourne are going to get Luke Jackson and then some because, if Cozzy leaves now, but it also him playing so well makes the team play so much better, which makes him maybe want to stay more. And I'm like, this is just hurting my brain because start of the year, it's like Clary will probably move to Geelong, Track will probably leave, Gorn will retire, Cozzy will leave, whatever. And now I'm like, they'll all go again. That'll be fine. They'll be sticking around because they're playing unbelievable football. And I'm fully back on the train. I think I tipped the Swans this week because I was like, maybe I don't believe in Melbourne yet. I think I believe in them now. I think I'm on it, and they are in some fantastic form.
I think with Melbourne as well, we always expect a bolter.
Yeah.
Not a Noah. We expect a team bolter at this time of the year. And, their last month has been fantastic. They've won 5 out of the last 6. So since the Gather Round loss to Essendon, they have beaten the Dockers at home. They've beaten Richmond by 20. They won over in Optus against the Eagles. They lost to Hawthorn by 35. They bet Brisbane at the Gather, and they bet the Swans on the weekend by 9 goals. The next 3 weeks, they've got St Kilda, Collingwood, and Port Adelaide before their bye. The lead up into the bye for every team is so... I think there's a lot more pressure on the side because you want to get to it in a winning position.
Yeah, you want to be in a positive record or at least close to, you know?
And like the Saints in Alice Springs this week, which, as you know, they haven't been great, but this is going to be a competitive game. Alice Springs can throw up any sort of mischief. Obviously, the big freeze, which...
Mine's in the other room, but yes.
Yes, we've got that. I'm actually looking forward to now attending that game because that could be somewhat competitive.
All of a sudden, it's a good game. When we first were like going to it, it was like, oh, you know, this will be whatever. Now I'm like, oh, we got it.
I'm pretty excited to see. And then they played the Power at the Adelaide Oval. Like things open up when you start winning. Take Night Port and St Kilda.
They're the 2 teams that need it right now. No, like I absolutely agree. The D's have, and like you know, like I said before, I thought people were severely underrating them. Like I was like, they still have Track, who is still amazing. You know, Clary can still do a lot. Max Gawn is still probably the best ruckman in the league. Like they still had a lot of really, really talented players there, and I think people were underrating them. And now it's like they're showing who they are. And also like they've had some of the younger players step up. Jake Bowie is playing incredible football, which we've seen. Cade Chandler is doing a little bit more than he has been in recent years. Like you said, with that dynamic forward line, they're showing more width, and they're kind of doing like, the way I like to sort of think is, and I'm not saying they're like Collingwood from 2023, but Collingwood from 2023 didn't have an out-and-out star key forward. They had a lot of medium-sized to smalls that were just doing a lot of damage. And Melbourne's kind of doing the same thing. They just kind of got a lot of smalls running around, doing plenty. And like, there's a lot of players as well that are just really underrated. Jake Melksham, I saw this the other day. I think Jake Melksham has one of the most underrated careers in the AFL.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he is, over the span of his career, has been one of the most underrated players going around. Because he just shows up, you know, and he just does what he needs to do every single week.
Do you know what the other thing about Jake Melksham is? They are a 20 times better side with him in it. Like every time he comes in, he is a role player. He's what makes their forward line unique. They can have Harrison Petty work around him. They can have Bailey Fritsch work around him. He takes a big key defender that can work him out of the contest. It's just, he's a dynamic forward that I think he's in the conversation like Jack Gunson, you know, these types of mid-tools that just know how to kick goals. You know, Brody Myatt. Oh, yeah, see? Brody Myatt is a perfect example. Like, he
fills that role perfectly. He fills the Myercheck role so well, and I just love it. I love what he does. And like, you know, I see it in like other areas, but I just think Melksham does it so consistently. Like, you know, looking at home, looking at St Kilda, Mason Wood does that more now. Like he used to be more wing. Now he plays that medium, taller forward that, you know, takes a key defender and stuff. Won't do it as consistently as Melksham though, or Myercheck, you know, kind of thing. And I just think Melksham, I think he adds so much. And it also helps when Kozzy Pickett's running around as well, because he can do anything. He can literally do anything. Small
forward turned into a midfielder, right?
Yeah. And it's what we were saying before. You know, I think it's a bit of a resurgence of, and I like to see it, those smaller forwards that can play higher up. And if you need them to go in the midfield for a little bit, they can do a job. Toby Green was saying that he dominated Carlton on the weekend, like took the piss against Carlton on the weekend, made it so easy. Dylan Moore, we've seen do it over last year and a little bit this year. Kozzy Pickett, Shea Bolton can do it. These smaller, medium forwards that can also move up the ground and get a lot of the footy and then bring it all out. Like Kozzy Pickett is a score involvement machine. He's everywhere. He's literally everywhere. And it's such a good skill to have.
Kozzy Pickett's kicked 18 goals for the year. And if Melbourne keep having the form that they're having at the moment and they scrape into the 8 or just miss the 8 even, Kozzy Pickett continues that form. And regardless where he ends up at the end of the year, he becomes All-Australian contention.
Yep.
This is about the start of the year.
He should very much be in there.
I've just come up with this idea, and I think I'm fantastic at creating ideas on the spot. I'm going to throw you 5 names.
Yep.
I want you to pick 2 that would be in your All-Australian side right now.
Yep.
All right. So this is the part of the top 25 of the Coleman. So I'm going to give you Riley West,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you Paul Curtis.
Yep.
I'm going to give you Toby Green.
Yep.
I'm going to give you Ben Long.
Yep.
I'm going to give you Jamie Elliott. And I'm going to throw in one more because I feel like it, Jack Higgins.
All right. Take Riley West out. He's been very good, but I don't think he's quite there. Paul Curtis has missed a few games. We'll take him out for now. Toby Green is just about back to his best. Had a few quiet weeks. Jamie Elliott's been very, very good though. There's a few that are in there. Look, I'm going to be completely biased here and go Jack Higgins because
Still got another spot.
Yeah. I think one of them is going to go Higo because the amount of goals we kick compared to the amount of goals he kicks. So his goal accuracy is one of the best in the league. He is kicking a lot of goals in a team that doesn't kick a lot of goals, kind of thing. And he just looks always so damaging when he goes near it. And teams are starting to really actually take notice of it, kind of thing. And he's doing it very consistently. He didn't have a great game on Sunday, but every game prior to that, he has been consistently kicking snags and doing very, very good at it. So I'm going to put Higo in there. And then I think it's so hard to go past Toby Green. I really want to put Jamie Elliott in there for the sake of it's good to see him doing well, even though he's older, kind of thing. But Toby Green showed on the weekend how he can just be anything. He can literally do whatever he needs to do and be anything. And I think he's going to go in there. Who would your two be?
See, I agree. I think Jack Higgins, even when the Saints were, teetering or even though they were good, Jack Higgins has been a goal kicker.
Yep.
I'm putting Ben Long in there. I think his career resurgence as a footballer this year, he's averaging 2.5 goals a game, which for him, his whole career, he's averaged less than a goal.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic as a lead-up forward this year. He's been so good when he has the opportunity in front of goal. Great set shot.
Yeah.
Has so much. He is a typical composure type player. So he won't have speed. He shows that he can pressure act and put a lot on the ball carrier. But his ability to find goals and kick them, and he's been a big reason why Gold Coast win games this year. Like Ben King kicked 1 goal on the weekend against the Saints, but there's Ben Long just doing his thing.
Yeah.
I think if it's not Ben King, if it's not Walter, if it's not Reed, you've got Ben Long then kicking goals, and it makes that's what half the reason why Gold Coast is so dynamic this year. He makes them dynamic up forward, which they've missed. Been a one-trick pony for so long. Now they've got so many options. Ben Long deserves flowers. I think
100% does. And this goes into obviously the last day. A lot of the headlines have been the whole fucking Nepo baby thing, which I'm not going to get into because it's just a whole thing. And I don't need to talk about it anymore. However, Gold Coast do not get enough credit for the fact that Ben Long was a discarded Saints player. He wasn't going to get offered another contract. They brought him on and said, you can come and play for us, kind of thing, and turned him into a goal-scoring machine. He was playing half-back for St Kilda. Turned him into a goal-scoring machine. John Noble they brought over. People were like, why are you doing that? Why are you overpaying for John Noble? This is why. He's very good. Dan Rioli, the same thing. Call them Nepo babies or whatever and say they have a lot of draft concessions as much as you like. Gold Coast are very good at identifying talent. Very, very, very good at it. And they are showing 3 of their best players this year. Obviously, there's others in there that they have drafted. Anderson, Rao, these kinds of guys, King. But a lot of them, those 3 in particular, are 3 of their better players. They just were off to the side players that weren't always there. Demioli a little bit better. But, these players that weren't going to get as many games, they brought them in, and now they're superstars.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Gold Coast. Very good.
It's amazing what happens when you actually scale it back and you put a premiership coach in charge and you go,
a proven winner in charge.
Exactly. All you need is a winner to run your football club. All you need is someone that knows how to get there and knows how to get the job done. Take note, Port. Take note, St Kilda. Take note, Carlton.
3 teams right now that are really in some raptures.
Why is it?
We'll get to it a little bit with the Saints Port poll that we put up. But there are some bad teams going around. What were you going to say?
Why is it the fans of North, Richmond and West Coast are more excited than the fans than Carlton, St Kilda and Port Adelaide?
I think Carlton especially should be one where they're like, oh boy, we should be so much better than we are.
St Kilda are so used to it that it's sort of numb to them.
They're
Port
also
Adelaide-
like a young team too, St Kilda. Like still a very young team with not a lot of A-grade talent already.
All right, but the St Kilda hat fits really well when you have
Yes,
it on, by
I
the
know.
way.
Yes.
Port suck,
Right?
right? They have the best crop of talent in the world in the top 5 of their players. Couldn't hit the side of a barn.
Fuck all after that.
And Carlton, well,
Talk about all the talent in the world in your top 5 players.
Carlton are like the Fast and Furious franchise. Like they've had a couple of hits, but overall they're just there to make
1
money.
through 5 are pretty good.
It's when Michael Voss flew over the top of the highway to catch Sam Walsh
Tackle that
and
guy.
land into the car. I think that's when. No, in all seriousness, it's painful.
It's so tough. I saw a tweet and I could not agree more. Every time Carlton's like players and like every time Carlton's best players are out on the field together, like let's say there's the top 5, only 3 of them are ever going to play good. The other 2 will have one of the worst games you'll ever see. On the weekend, I saw this firsthand. Cripps was playing not too bad. DeConing was doing okay, but Jacob Wiedering and Sam Walsh had absolutely atrocious games of football.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always like 2 of their top 5 that just aren't good. And like Curnow didn't really touch it, and like Mackay didn't touch it. Like these guys, like there's always a couple that don't do anything. And they can one day, all like 5 of them, Cripps, Walsh, Wiedering, Curnow, Mackay, they're all going to be the greatest footballers of all time, and they'll win a game by 300 points. But it's never going to happen because they can't do it. And I don't know why it keeps happening.
I don't know either. It's really bad.
It's, yeah. I feel very bad for Carlton fans. I even saw like the crowd wasn't fantastic. And like it wasn't a great time slot, admittedly, Saturday 120. But like I can see I went to a game 2 years ago, Carlton Gold Coast, when I was working the box Triple M, and there was nobody there, and it was the MCG, and I can see it coming. I don't know what games Carlton have coming up next. I'm gonna have a look, but I could see some games where the crowds are gonna start to dip again, and it's gonna be trouble.
Well, I'll list out there next month, please. I've got to buy this week.
I see it.
Yeah, well, okay, so. They've got the bye this week, Carlton. They've got Essendon in the game on the Sunday night, which has turned into, well, that'll be interesting, actually. They got West Coast at Optus, which is just, it's your type of game where they could have Charlie Curnow kick 8 and win by 80. Or they lose and the fans derail. North at the G, then Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, Collingwood versus Carlton, Brisbane, Melbourne, Hawthorn. 2026 is not too far away.
Incredibly hard fixture. Look at that. Collingwood,
last
Brisbane,
6 weeks
Melbourne,
is
Hawthorn,
horrid.
Fremantle, Gold Coast.
That last game, the one before round 24, Carlton, Port Adelaide, 12:50 Marvel on a Sunday. Could break the lowest crowd attendance ever at Marvel.
I'm looking at this MCG Carlton versus North Melbourne game for mine. Saturday 120, Carlton North, coming off a Carlton loss to West Coast in Perth. Stinks of 20,000 people at the MCG.
Yeah, but even 20's all right.
It's not 13, is it?
No, it's not 13 at Marvel.
Grim. Look. You know what I didn't love about the Dimmer comments that he said, where it was like, look in your own backyard? Understandable, I get that. We didn't have a big fan. You know, you're a team that's also playing there. It's not like we played a different team. We played you there. You could also have fans coming. I know we have the majority, but you could have some. You had 5. You could have some more.
They probably made more noise than your 13.
That's all I'm saying. Like, if it was like, if it was Voss or if it was Hinkley being like, look in your own backyard, fair enough. You get some decent crowds. I'll give you that. Timo, though? Really?
I think he was just happy to win at Marvel, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just happy to get out of there, to be honest. He was doing his presser. He's like, fuck for this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Too many weird side quest controversies going on in the AFL at the moment. Like, honestly, just fix your teams and shut up.
Yeah, it's just a lot going on. Everyone's angry at each other. Kane and Bevo are gonna have a punch on. It's just this full fucking.
God, that was funny.
Oh, just bizarre, very, very bizarre.
I don't like that clubs are hostile to Kane.
You're not a fan?
No, because like it's media personnel. Like, I know there's a fine line between controversy and an opinion.
Mm.
And I think a lot of clubs now, because of the way the media landscape is, it's taken a turn towards, if you don't say nice things, we're not going to allow you in our brand.
I actually agree with that. In the North Melbourne case, especially, Kane Cornes didn't say anything that terrible about Harry Sheezel. He said that he wasn't playing a great role, and he was right. Harry Sheezel wasn't playing a great role. He didn't say he was a bad footballer. He said he's too good to be playing the role that he is. And then North banned him. And it was like, all right, I suppose.
I think the best part about Kane Cornes is you can take his opinion. He'll say a lot of horrible shit. He'll just throw any shit at the wall. And if it sticks, it sticks. And 9 times out of 10, it will stick because you just get...
He's actually pretty good at it. Yeah.
You won't get the clubs landing it, but you'll get the fans talking. You get people, oh, Kane's a piece of shit. But when you read the comments, if you go through what Kane's opinion is of anything or anything, there is actually a majority there that will say, don't like Kane, but I agree with what he's saying.
He's pretty right here. Yeah. Like that was the case with the North one. It was like, you know what? Like, I understand he's not a nice person, but he's pretty right. Like he's pretty accurate.
I wouldn't even say he is a nice person. I think he has an opinion on footy. I think
he's a very opinionated general, which is fair enough. He's never said a nice thing about St Kilda in the history of him doing media, though.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Not one. He's not said one thing ever that has been remotely positive.
I will say this about Kane. The best thing he's done is join Channel 7. Because the social aspect of it gets people talking. He's got a show everywhere. He is the pinnacle of AFL media right now, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that people forget about Kane, and this is just my opinion, but also you can tell for a fact in his mannerisms. He just suits the 7 brand, right? Because he just loves the footy. He just loves the footy. When you turn on Thursday night and you see him with a Bailey Smith headband, right, and you just know he loves the footy.
And like when he did this shit last year and he had the wizard hat on, he just loves football, doesn't he? He
just loves the footy.
Man, I would pay so much money for him to recreate the Brett Kirk thanks Basil speech.
I know someone in particular who works at 7 that could possibly make that happen. I will reach out.
That would be it would be one of the great.
Our request to you, Kane, and this will be the clip.
Yeah.
Kane, if you ever have the opportunity to join the glass table or see this, we would love for you to recreate Brett Kirk's speech. Put a little bit of a Kane spin on it.
Yeah, please do.
Please do. If you can, it would be fantastic. But regardless, we just know you love the footy.
He's great. Yeah, like he's never said nice thing about St Kilda, but I'm like, you know what? You're fun. He brings a lot of vibe. And like Channel 7 have nothing really going for them in the terms of the broadcast kind of things. Like they have all the ads and everything like that. And yet for some reason, I still find myself on Thursday and Friday night flicking it on Channel 7 and not on Fox because I'm like, maybe Kane's kind of good for the sport. Maybe vibes.
No, I completely agree. But this is my thing. I have a new underdog. And I thought about this Thursday. I have a new underdog for the best commentary team in the league right now. Kane Cornes, Luke Hodge, Hamish McLaughlin, BT.
I do love Hamish. I'm a big Hamish man.
The way they coordinated and were able to excite me in the commentary on Thursday night between that Cats and Dogs game, which was back and forth. They were laughing at things that were happening. The Vandermeer hit in the sack, which no one wants, but they were making a light-hearted joke about. They were talking about how Kane still got brushed over by Bevo in the pre-game. When the game's on the line, they're talking about how amazing this and that is. Oh, it was phenomenal, and I couldn't not listen.
I'm all about it. Yeah, I'm all about it. I've been a big Hamish man for a very long
Yes.
time. I've always said that he's fantastic and he gets very underrated. I even like BT. Sue me. I think he's pretty fun. You know, I think he's really funny. He makes
Thursday
really
night
funny
slot.
comments. He makes some really funny comments on Sunday when he was talking about how Fox wasn't there, which also what the fuck was that about?
Yes.
Just a very funny guy. I'm all about it. Luke, I can tell Luke and Kane do not like each other. They really don't. But they have a professional relationship and they'll just get along and then they're not having a beer after the game. It's fucking see you later. And they leave. But they do it respectfully. And I like it.
Fantastic.
Football's fun. You know what? Football's fun again. I like Kane. He's cool.
It's fun when we're not watching our teams.
Yes, which if you were going to do the segue, we could both do the segue together here in that Saints and Port, obviously our teams, both in very similar situations this year. Port probably had higher expectations on them than the Saints did, but both have probably disappointed their fans in the same way, which is great fun. Saints have done it in the year. Saints started the year well and then died. Port just kind of middled and then went down. You put out a poll asking who would you rather be in terms of a Saints or a Port fan at this current point in time with the list, with how your team's tracking, with the coaches. We both have very polarizing coaches as well. Everything kind of suits all at the same time. So what would your opinion on it be?
As someone that's seen the insides and outs of Port Adelaide and knowing the expectation of fans, I still would rather be Port. I think the tease of a premiership and the tease of finals outweighs any sort of, I don't know, expectation, I guess. Like it's hard to justify who's who. I know in this current position we sit 4-7. Both teams have faltered expectations. As you said, the Saints started well. We were winning games, and as soon as you start to get ahead as a Saints fan, I can tell through you, like living it through you. Like if you look forward and you're like, oh, in the next 3, if we win 2 out of the next 3, and all of a sudden you lose all 3, and then life sucks again. As a Port fan, you're in a position of the change is coming, and somehow it seems so far away. And you actually have watching Freo Port on the weekend and watching it unfold. I could see it happen. I saw it happen at halftime. I could just tell, right, this game is going to end up being 40, 50 point loss in the wet. We don't know how to fight out games anymore. I could just see it happening. But it's like a syringe slowly sucking out the hope of your body. That's what it's been like. And what's sad and a reality now as a Port fan is, whilst I still would select Port in this current sort of criteria, is the fact that there's a harsh reality coming. It doesn't get any easier with the fixture.
No.
Thankfully, we have a horne-francis, Butters and Rosie to rely on. But at the end of the day, when you see that your coach that's been celebrated for minimal success is eventually going to leave because of a succession plan and has been a soft sacking, I think.
Yeah, very soft sacking.
It's a gap year in footy, which you should never have. It's a year where free salaries are given out. And I'm scared of what the result for the end of the year could look like. But also, I'm very, very scared that Port Adelaide could retire a legend at the end of the year. And he's got nothing to show for it other than a 119-point loss in the grand final and like 5 prelim losses.
And a bunch of BNFs.
And he's only had a couple. 3-time All-Australian.
Still a couple BNFs.
A couple of BNFs. Immortal at our club. And yet, yeah, it's going to end the same way Robbie Gray's career ended. And it's going to be sad. I hope not, but hope's been sucked out of me, Jared.
Well, that's what you said. Like you look at the way that Port's gone about it, and like I understand it's also like you'd probably rather be them in terms of your top end talent is very good still. You know that there is a new coaching change on the horizon, which could change some things up. Obviously, this year you probably wouldn't rather be either, but you know that in the future these are sort of things happening. Saints fans have sort of been going like it's a sort of perpetual rebuild. It's one of those things that you just kind of keep on going through, and every now and then there'll be a finals appearance rolled in there. You get one in 2023, you get one in 2020. Like you just kind of get these little ones that show you that glimmers of hope and stuff. I think the reason I would say the Saints is, we've got probably the better sort of youth. Like we get more games to our youth purely due to the fact that we don't have that talent that take it away from the youth. Like we have a lot of guys that are under 50 games that are getting a lot of games this year because that's just the nature of the team. And so you can kind of see the progression of that. You see the excitement that's building. There's a lot of money behind the club and they can eventually sign these sort of next few players. But I think, and there's a few replies on Twitter that go with it, it's that you never really want to be the Saints because it's just, there's been a lot of disappointment over many, many years. Whereas Port can at least sort of show they can play very well. Saints haven't shown that in a very, very long time. And you kind of just got to deal with it. And that's what this year is looking like. And I think after the West Coast loss, it was a bit of just like, all right, that was probably the nail, I think. I think that was the one where everyone went, fair enough. All good. So we'll see you soon. But yeah, Twitter, obviously we said our own. We had a couple say Saints, or we had one say Saints, and we had two. One of them, neither of them said Port Adelaide exclusively, but one of them said, come on. And it was just from a Port fan. And then the other one just said, never be St Kilda. So says enough, I suppose.
Internally, those two Port fans are probably thinking, well, I wouldn't want to be the Saints, but
I don't like us.
I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be anything.
Well, we had more on Instagram. We had the Kangas media just saying, give me Saints. So I appreciate that. But the actual poll itself, 68% of people said Port Adelaide, 32% said St Kilda. So kind of splitting, more saying Port, which I understand. But basically, both teams, along with, you put Carlton in the mix as well, just disappointing fans at the minute.
Yeah, life for the footy fans sucks.
But one thing that St Kilda has got going for it right now, Jack Higgins is doing well in the Coleman. And there's a very interesting Coleman race, which I know that you would like to touch on.
Well, kind of touched on it before, but I guess looking at it, I have no goddamn idea who's going to win this thing.
No.
So I simply want to throw out the question. I'll give you the top 10. So Cameron is on 33, Ben King 31, Hogan's on 30. Jesse Hogan's kicked 30 goals, 6. And don't forget, he missed a couple of games as well in there. Jamie Elliott 28, Jack Higgins 28, Fogarty 26, Phil Thorpe 25, Kerno 24, Mitch Georgiades 24, and Nick Larkey 24. 12 rounds to go, halfway point. Who's winning the Coleman from there?
It's very interesting. Like we talking about this, and this is a stat that I saw today, and this is more about Ben King as a footballer rather than anything else. And we were talking about this earlier, but he has had 50 kicks this year, and 47 of them have been shots at goal. Now, talk about a fucking plugger. Talk about park me in the square and clear out everybody. He is hardly venturing out of his zone, which I actually respect very highly. However, he's a very athletic person. I think he would do quite well up the ground. But if he is going to continue to do that, he will kick a lot of goals. Like if he's going to park himself 30 out from goal at most, he'll kick a lot of goals. I'm going to go Ben King from here purely for that fact. I think he's going to park himself. He's going to just have those games where he'll kick 5, and then he'll kick 1 or 2 for a little while, and then he'll kick a 6, and then he'll just kind of cruise through and eventually make his way through. I think it's going to be Ben King. I don't know about you.
I said Ben King from the start, and I'll say Ben King now. I'm not changing my prediction at all. It'll be Ben King. And the best part about that stat that you said, he's had 47 shots on goal from 50 kicks, and he's kicked 31 goals, 12, which means 4 of those have gone nowhere.
And that's very good.
And that means that Benny King is winning the Coleman. Jesse Hogan kicks like 9 against Essendon again, and then
Could. Very well could.
like
The Giants haven't been in great form either. If they pick up some form.
he kicked 4 on the weekend just for piss take.
Just because he could. Yeah. And everyone was talking about Toby Gray and he just kicked 4 himself.
Love this time of the year. Just quickly before we get into tips, mid-season drafts on Wednesday night. So when you listen to this, either on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, it could be happening now. It could have happened already. It could be happening tomorrow. It could be whenever you listen. I don't really have much to say about this mid-season draft, but you told me a good story before about your local footy club who's got a couple of running. So I guess the only way we can really touch on the mid-season draft just screams local footy. Like it just,
right?
Like it's just, all right, this kid's been dominating in the VFL. Like he's been playing local footy. I know Port Adelaide had an SSP player late in the year, Josh Lai, who got picked up out of nowhere. Like this. It works and it's weird. A lot of predictions for the mid-season drafts and clubs have been eyeing this off because how many fucking injuries we had.
They're going to pick a whole new team out of their mid-season draft.
Essendon, well, you know what? Fair play to them because they picked up Angus Clark, who on fantasy is a defender, but kicked 3 as a forward, but he was on a wing. And he's an SA boy.
Bizarre. Just a strange result from him. No, you're absolutely right. Essendon will make a whole team. I heard someone today at work, and I found it very, very funny, actually. Someone today at work referred to Essendon's mid-season draft haul as the next season of The Recruit. And I just thought that was really funny. Because they're all going to get a run at some point, but they're probably only going to keep one for like 2 years. Everyone else is going to be gone. And I was like, that's very good. So Essendon are going to have a lot going for them. But you're absolutely right. Local footy people, they jump on it and try and get themselves drafted. My thing is there are 2 guys that are affiliated with Dingley, my local team, that are going to be picked up. So Tom McCarthy, who is the consensus number 1 pick, he's going to go to West Coast, it's a guarantee. He is affiliated with Dingley, hasn't played a game there because he's been way too good in the VFL.
But his photo's on the wall.
And when it gets drafted, it's probably going to say via Richmond VFL / Dingley Dingoes. And that's very exciting.
Via mid-season draft.
Yeah, exactly right.
Fantastic.
So he's going to go, consensus number 1 pick. That's fine. And then Caleb Lewis, who someone I know quite well, and I'm very excited. He's pretty much almost going to guarantee get picked up by Gold Coast, which is very exciting too. So he's a big key forward. He is one of the tallest men I've ever seen in my entire life. He is a giant. And he's consensus he's going to get picked up by the Gold Coast. So very exciting to know that there's just local footy boys running around. Josh Lai, you mentioned, he played against Dingley in the grand final last year and was best on. So that's exciting. So he'll do well eventually when he gets out there for Port. And just local footy stuff happening everywhere.
I should have nominated.
Should have gone for it.
Imagine that. Div 6, A grade, St Paul's old scholars. I can't wait till the photos come out.
It's going to be good.
Said to myself, have the idea, and I've told you this already, but for those listening at home, and make sure you get around the SPOS page too, because excellent content coming out by yours truly. Can't wait to just put a carousel up on the socials of me, Travis Cloak, Jay Schultz, Prime Treaders, Quinton Lynch, these types of players that wore the glove, and I've joined the club, the Glove Club.
Can I please, as a addition to your carousel, can the last slide of the carousel please be just that video of Hutchie catching the football with the glove? That's all I want. Just the last slide, just him and like bouncing the soccer ball and catching it again. That is the only contribution I want to make to this carousel, but I think it'd be really funny.
It might just have to go on GT as well. Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
I'm all about it. It's very good.
Anthony Treadray Yarny, eh? Anyway, I guess we should just get into round 12 tips, huh?
Tips.
Shorter round. We'll be quick. Don't worry.
And in terms of last week, I did not do very well.
Holy shit, we got 2 9s.
We got 2 9s.
Yeah, Lockie C and Oliver C. The C's.
The C's getting it. Parting them and getting 9. Well played.
Wow, that is awesome. Geordie 577 is on 72 after getting 6. He's outright top at the moment. Huntzilla Killer FC Scotty T is on 71. Hasn't moved for the whole year, I don't think. NATO is outright third. That's your top 3. Nathan, what did I get? You got 5, which is...
I got 5 and I was bad. And you got 7 and did pretty well.
and I got 7 and I've moved 2 spots.
Yes.
And my margin was only 3.
Yeah, that is very good.
Yeah, I was right. I'm watching that live with you, and that was
Good.
right on that one. Beautiful. Well, we're getting to round 12. Obviously, a shorter round with the buys. I shall let you know who has the buys this week because it's definitely Port, it's definitely North, it's definitely Carlton. There is one other that I'm completely forgetting that I'm going to tell you in 3, 2, 1. The Western Bulldogs.
Yep.
Cool. You knew that, didn't you?
No, I was also looking at the tipping thing, trying to figure out which team it was.
Good. I was going to say, if you didn't want to chime in, we get paid equally at this joint.
Sorry.
$0. Anyway, Thursday night. You beauty. Lions, Essendon.
Don't even need to say anything. Don't even think I need to say anything.
Oh, I think this will be closer than people think. I'm bullish on the Bombers this year. Not on like a finals contention thing, but just a competitive type atmosphere. Even though they'll probably lose by 49. No, I'm tipping them by 31, the Lions.
I'm tipping the Lions by 24.
So you laugh at me, but then you go,
I keep the margins. I always keep the margins short because you just never know. And then if Essendon win, that margin, the 49 the other way, just completely blows it out of proportion. So I always keep it pretty short. No Lions.
I said 31.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it goes the other way around kind of thing.
I hope they win by 49 now, just to piss you off. Then we have Friday night, absolute belter.
Game of the round.
Collingwood Hawthorn. You know what? They're due. They're due a loss. I'm tipping the Hawks.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm tipping the Pies.
I think they just bet the Crows, teetering with North after one last quarter. They have had good games. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they're literally going to raise the cup at the end of the year. I'm just saying this one in particular, Hawthorn have more to lose, and I think the Hawks will win.
That's understandable. Hawks are going to be very, very desperate. Collingwood might be a little bit complacent, but I just still
a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I just think Collingwood are just that little bit too good, just a tiny bit.
Okay, fair enough. Gold Coast Fremantle. Now, 2 weeks ago, I insulted you for the Freo Giants game, and I think you're still waiting for an apology. It's coming in the mail.
The last 2 weeks, Freo have showed that they are still good at football.
Have to win this one, I think, Freo, just to really.
If they win this one, they are absolutely back into those flying colours.
That finals contention.
Yeah,
I just don't think at the People First Stadium they'll do the job. I'm tipping the Suns.
I don't think so either. I'm also going to tip the Suns.
Giants, Richmond.
Lockety lock. The Giants in against the Tigs.
Yeah, I'm locking that in too.
The Giants, I think, are going to hit some form again. I think the Freo loss shook them a bit. Good game, good win against Carlton. Toby Green's back to form. Jesse Hogan doing Jesse Hogan things. Giants will comfortably do this one. And
Jesse Hogan might kick 10.
He might. There's every opportunity. Richmond have a lot of injuries still. Every opportunity here that the Giants absolutely torch Richmond.
Agree with that. So we've also got another Saturday night game. The Swans Crows. Actually, no, this is the only Saturday night game. Giants Tigers are the twilight, obviously with the buys. So Swans Crows at the SCG. Now it's a little bit tougher because I know that even though the Swans are out of form, they have had that win against Carlton.
I can never shake the fact that the Swans are good,
especially at the SCG.
Yeah.
And the Crows' first half against the Eagles was less than convincing. It's actually a tighter game than I think people.
I'm actually going to back in the Swans here. I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Swannies. I'm a Swannies man this week. I was a Swannies man last week too, and they let me down. But I'm a Swannies man this week.
The Swans win. They have to have McCartan play down back.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's got to be the way to go. I don't know. They got to stop doing that. They gotta stop doing the McCartan forward thing.
I'm tipping the Crows. Safe bets.
Fair enough.
These Saints in Alice Springs.
You said it before. Alice is like the Twilight Zone. Anything can happen in Alice Springs.
According to news reports, you're right. Absolutely anything, apparently. But this one's in the day, so it shouldn't be as bad.
No.
I'm tipping the D's. I'm sorry.
I tip the Saints. I'm backing this in.
Well,
we're due.
It's going to be a long flight home.
We're due for a win. We're due.
And that's will be the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. If I didn't already lock the Giants in, I would have locked the Cats. But Giants have been locked.
It's the type of game that the Eagles would be competitive for a half like they were against the Crows, and the Cats would blow them away. And this is the type of game. This isn't a Jeremy Cameron. This isn't a Jeremy. I don't think you meant the time in the recording of 6. Oh, no.
I'm at the time of the game.
You're telling me I have to wait 4 hours for the final game between. Oh no, well, sorry, 4 hours between the start of the late one and.
7:20. Yuck.
Type of game. Ollie Dempsey kicks 4.
Yeah, and Jez will kick 15, maybe.
Shannon Neal will kick 10. Anyway, that's round 12.
Before you're done, though, there is one thing that we've brought in over the last little bit, and that's our little crowd aesthetics.
Oh, forgot about that. Yes. All right. Aesthetics time. JT, give us your rundown. Obviously, we go the Lions, Bombers. Now, would be good in the crowd. Would be okay on the field. But back to the crowd. Terrible seats at the Gabba, so we won't know.
The seats are really bad at the Gabba. You're absolutely right there. Horrible seats, but not too bad aesthetics-wise, crowd and people. Don't hate it.
Collingwood Hawthorn is going to be fantastic.
Pretty good. Black and yellow.
Suns Freo. Don't like it because it's at people first.
No, but the actual colours, though, very, very good.
Interesting. Giant Stadium. Yeah.
Seats are a bit whatever, but good colours again.
Type of game. The top up won't be open. Swans Crows, yes.
Yeah, red, blue.
Melbourne St Kilda. Well, it's in Alice, so like
too much red though. And yeah, there won't be that many wearing like team colours anyway. It'll be pretty. Yeah, it won't be great. On the field. What one are we gonna wear? I'm trying to figure out what jumper we're gonna wear. I think we're gonna wear the candy. Oh no, we're wearing our Indigenous jumper again because we're in Alice. Never mind. It's fine.
Cool. Thanks for the live story on that one. The Cats, the Eagles will be not too bad, but
yellow. Yeah.
Well, that's another shit round of aesthetics, isn't it?
First one was very good, and the other two have let us down severely.
And the buys are going to suck. It's dry.
Yep. Too many games of football missing.
There's one last thing before I close this off, and I don't normally get angry on this podcast because it's a happy-go-lucky, beautiful show with us two presenting it, and we always are just satisfied with whatever comes our way.
Yes.
But in the word of Jade, who is a beautiful singer, a British pop singer, she has a song called Fuck You For Now. And that's to the AFL for having 5 fucking weeks of the bye. I rest my case. We'll see you next week.
See ya.